my bottle.
The remake of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 isn't necessarily a faithful one, but how much does that actually matter? Well, I decided to take a look at every version of these games, and as somebody who's played the series for almost their entire life, I'm going to tell you what I think. Let's check it out. Pro Skater 3 and 4 comes to us 5 years after the recently released remake of 1 and 2, which is quite the gap when we compare it to the timeline of the original games. But the 5-year difference isn't because they were cooking this entire time. From the moment that this project was announced, it was surrounded in controversy. For starters, Vicarious Visions, the original team behind the first 2 remakes, were absorbed into Activision's other projects shortly after 1 and 2's release. That's a hell of a way to say thank you, despite the remake of 3 and 4 being on the table. Well, after taking it off of the table, Activision decided to put it back on the table and hand it over to Iron Galaxy. Naturally, this would leave a sour taste in some people's mouths, but if the studio changes didn't do it, the game changes definitely would. For those unfamiliar with the series, Pro Skater 3 and 4 are very different experiences, but they both brought something new to the table.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah!
Pro Skater 3 was the first game to step into the next generation, bringing with it a suite of graphical enhancements and gameplay additions. In Pro Skater 3, you complete a set of goals within a 2-minute timer, just like the previous games. But now, goals include characters that react to your actions and bring a little more life to these levels.
Nice!
You also had the addition of more trick variations and reverts that allowed you to string combos together for longer periods of time. But most notably to me, the gameplay is now much more fun to play, thanks to the higher frame rate and a refined engine that makes gameplay smooth and landing tricks feel more predictable. If you like the original games, Pro Skater 3 was an improvement in pretty much every way, but it wasn't necessarily a different experience as a whole. That would change with Pro Skater 4. Pro Skater 4 is what my bias can only describe as one of the best Tony Hawk games ever made. It's a time capsule that has creativity crammed in every corner of the experience. You can tell that Neversoft was having a great time bringing this game to life and truly cared about what they were creating. You feel that creative influence in every part of this game, which starts from the very moment you select a character.
I want to do a triple kickflip. Come on, let's do it.
Every character is voiced,
Hit a lip trick! Bust a lip trick! Do a lip trick! Don't move your ass!
and feels like they bring something special to the table, figuratively and literally. Immediately after starting a game with your character, you notice something different than any of the previous Tony Hawk games. You aren't flashed with a goal list, instead you have a guy with a camera telling you to run off and talk to people to take on missions.
I can't believe it, my boss is firing me because he found my YouTube channel and I can't afford my mortgage. But I bet if you grind on that electrical pole over there, we can burn my house down and I'll split the insurance payout with you.
Goals are now completed at your own pace, leaving you free to explore the level and do them as you see fit. Every character that you talk to, whether it be a pro skater, a level-specific character, or a magic bum that follows you throughout the game.
Hey! Me and my buddies want to see you do some of your jumpy jumps and some spinny wizards and some of those flippity doos.
We'll give you an interesting bit of dialogue and a goal that'll grant you stat points, level unlocks, and cash, which can be used on a number of different things in the game. Most notably, you can head to the back of this sketchy van to pick up cheat codes, secret skaters, levels, and behind the scenes footage of the game. But what you do with the cash is up to you in whatever order you want to do it in. This gives you the freedom to play how you want and experience the game more like a Tony Hawk RPG. Do you want to grind out your created character to max out their stats? Do you want to spend cash on cheats that alter the gameplay experience? If you want to break the game, Neversoft pretty much gives you the okay to do that.
Get away from my stuff. That is my tackle box. Ah, my beautiful fish.
But beyond the entertaining characters and the career mode additions, the gameplay experience has also been refined. Pro Skater 4 brings a host of new tricks, but the most notable of all is probably the spine transfer, giving you the ability to gap over walls and lock yourself to the ramp underneath you. When you combine this with the revert feature from Pro Skater 3, you now have the ability to chain combos that would have been impossible in the earlier games. This is a fantastic gameplay improvement, especially with these maps that are bigger and more immersive than ever. Levels are filled with cars you can sketch, pedestrians you can piss off, and secrets to discover. Whether it's the rides at the carnival or the animals at the zoo, Pro Skater 4 is just as much of a technical improvement as it is an immersive one.
There seems to be someone holding onto the back of the stolen car. Is that a skateboarder? My God! It looks like they're trying to shake the skater, but the skater's just not letting go. If you can hold on long enough, maybe the team will run out of gas.
I remember spending hours exploring these maps and attempting to get into areas that I wasn't supposed to, which is something that I can't say that the games before or after this one gave me the same drive to do. Although that could just be my bias showing. I spent a lot of time with Pro Skater 4 specifically. Even the PlayStation version of Pro Skater 4 included these open area style goals that could be completed out of order, despite the rest of the game being similar to Pro Skater 3 on the PlayStation, where it shares the same engine and mechanics. And as it turns out, history tends to repeat itself. Special announcement:
like and subscribe for more trash.
We were talking about controversy with the new game, right? Well, that's why I thought it was important to add context to show just how different Pro Skater was from its predecessor. It wasn't just a reskin of Pro Skater 3 with new levels, it was arguably a new experience. Which is why people were pretty upset to learn that the remake of Pro Skater 4 in particular would not be using the same goal-based system introduced in the original game. This is where people began to theorize how you'd possibly complete all of these levels within the allotted 2-minute timer, and the answer was pretty obvious to all of us. Either some cuts were going to be made, or this was going to play much less like the game we remembered. And now that I've spent some time with the remakes, the latter is unfortunately the case.
Gotta get class.
But that's not the whole story. Since its launch, Iron Galaxy and even Mr. Tony Pro Skater himself have made it very clear that a lot of creative liberties have been taken in the 3 and 4 remake. Let's be clear that this isn't just about bringing back a modern classic, it's about introducing what made these games so special to a modern audience. Now that may not be something that you agree with, but you have to take that lens into consideration when talking about this game. Another thing to take into consideration is this 3-page EULA that immediately greets you at the start of the game that you just paid for, as does the characters you didn't pay for greeting you at the selection screen. But I guess that's just modern gaming, right? After that little blemish, the first thing that someone familiar with the series will notice about Pro Skater 3 and 4 is the huge cast of new and old skaters, as well as a new soundtrack with recently released music that stretches across the past decade or so. I think it's a pretty good soundtrack that features modern music that people probably want to hear in their modern game, and I'm not going to play any of it for you because it's licensed, and that'll get this video demonetized. God, this whole music licensing thing is so antiquated. Sure, maybe they could have added more music from the other games, but with a track list at almost double the size of the original, you're talking about a pretty big undertaking and a big potential licensing nightmare in the future if it isn't already. Now that we have the antiquated music industry guidelines out of the conversation, let's get into the meat of what the 3 and 4 remake offers.
Oh yeah!
It's probably obvious by this point, but the 3 and 4 remake runs on the same Unreal-based engine from the 1 and 2 remake. They didn't seem to touch too much this time around in terms of gameplay, but they have added new characters and special tricks to go along with them. Maps are split between 2 career modes depending on the game, with Pro Skater 3's levels playing out like you'd expect, featuring their own Easter eggs and hidden areas just like they would in the original game. I was never a big Pro Skater 3 fan, so I'm not the most familiar with it, but from what I can tell, it's pretty faithful to the original game outside of a few modern game alterations to some of the art. Of course, when we take a look at Pro Skater 4, things are a bit different.
The horror.
First off, we're missing the Chicago and Carnival levels from the original, but in their place we have a few original levels from Iron Galaxy, which I don't really mind. But of course things get a little bit weird from here. First off, almost none of the secret skaters from the original games make a return here. Doom Guy is in here given that Microsoft owns the IP now, but only if you bought the Super Special Edition that my broke ass didn't get. He just sits there with a little shopping cart icon.
Modern gaming.
Now, I don't mind the new skaters, but I'm not going to pretend like I don't miss Daisy and her non-manual special or Jango Fett's jetpack that you could abuse with moon gravity cheats. Yeah, cheats are another notably missing thing from this game, and I guess every other new game from the past decade. There's game modifiers that allow you to extend session time or always have perfect manuals, but I feel like those are more of an accessibility option than anything. I've seen people say that you could extend the session time with these modifiers to make Pro Skater 4 feel more like the original, but that's honestly not the case at all. For one, each goal you do in Pro Skater 4 lives in its own self-contained challenge. Extending session time would essentially give you an unlimited time window to do what would otherwise be a time-sensitive challenge. But I began to get a little concerned when I started looking at some of these challenges. First off, there's a lot of challenges from the original game that are straight up missing. No Ollie the Magic Bum and chasing his purple elephants, no playing baseball with the Alcatraz ghost, and literally no goal challenges at all for levels like Kona in the zoo. Almost every unique character interaction from the original game has been reduced to a background element or an Easter egg, one that you might not even pick up on if you didn't play the original games, and with some of the levels not having challenges at all, it makes me feel like this part of the game was rushed out of the door to meet a deadline or budget constraint. The zoo level in particular really burns me because it used to be a fun, vibrant map that was full of life and things to do. Now it's been reduced to an empty competition level where you do waves of high score challenges within a time limit. It's dark, there's no zoo animals, and therefore no reason for me to revisit it. Why even call this map a zoo when you literally took the zoo out of it? This is the vibe I get for a lot of the challenges in Pro Skater 4's levels. The parade float in the college is back, but no gap challenge for it. The tennis courts are back, but no French guy to 1v1 with. I don't blame Iron Galaxy for these levels feeling empty, because honestly, I don't think it's their fault. The design of these new levels are actually really well done.
Besides the zoo that they tried to cover up by turning it into a competition map at night.
They look beautiful while also still playing just as good, if not better, than they did in 2002. The problem is that by removing these gold challenges, they fundamentally changed the gameplay, and you can tell. When you have a game that's so tightly created for a specific type of experience, you can tell when it's being retrofitted for something different. It's a symptom of the unfortunate changes that they had to make. I think it's easy to look at these changes and write the game off as an inferior product to the one that came out in 2004. But doing that would just be ignorant in my opinion, because there's still a lot to love about the 3 and 4 remake.
Foiled again!
While character interactions are missing in the remake, I was surprised to see a number of cutscenes that expand on some of the challenges in a way I wasn't expecting. Sure, they're contextually a little bit different in some cases, like saving the painter from a pier that wasn't cracked from you grinding it.
You gotta be kidding me!
But it was pretty cool to see, given that I wasn't expecting any cutscenes at all. Maybe if they had a little bit more time to implement more of those, that would have been really cool. And while numerous secret shop items from the original game aren't here, there's still a number of items and modes to keep you busy beyond the main challenges. Create-A-Park, a staple of the series, is back with a number of community and developer created maps for you to jump into. Sure, a lot of them are achievement farming slop or crude in their design, but the way people manipulate the geometry to create Delfino Plaza or some obscure fever dream of a skate park never fails to entertain me. And that's not even mentioning online multiplayer returning with crossplay. So anything from a VCR to a Switch 2 can hop into a server together and show me just how bad I actually am at the game. Tony Pro Skater 3 and 4 Again Edition isn't the remake that everyone wanted, but it's a great looking, simple pick up and play game that's worth giving a shot. If you want the original experience of Pro Skater 4, consider picking up or legally playing your legitimately backed up copy through emulation. It's a genuinely fun product of its time that holds up incredibly well. Honestly, if you've never played the original Pro Skater 4, I genuinely encourage you to give it a shot. If you want to see a Tony Hawk game that doesn't hold up pretty well, you can check out my video on Tony Hawk Ride. I still got the board over here. Or the last 2 games that Neversoft made for the series, which a lot of people think aren't pretty good either, but I have a different opinion about them. Shout out to channel members Joking Bomb, Exit, Not a Clown 2, and Scotty for supporting the channel as always, as well as everyone getting us to almost 19,000 subscribers so far, which I think is almost double what we were at last year. The channel has grown more in the past year than it has in the past decade, and I can't thank you guys enough for it. Anyways, that's all I got. Let me know what you guys want to watch next. If you got any questions or comments, let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I love this tune. Who wants to dance? I said, get down, baby. That's right. What's up? Yeah. I love this tune. Who wants to dance? That's right. I'm shaking it. Who wants to watch it? Shake it. Don't break it. I'll get a little of this move. Ready? It's trademarked. Seen it before. It's cool. It's cool. You'll be doing it later, telling your friends about it. It's fine. Watch it. That's right. Lucky for you, I'm covered by major health insurance.